Ten Commandments in the book of Exodus, God says very clearly to his people, honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. And yet, Christians in the New Covenant do not worship on the Sabbath. The Sabbath is Saturday. Christians worship on Sunday, the day of Christ's resurrection. Why do we do that? Why is it that Christians in the New Covenant can apparently break one of the commandments of the Old Covenant? Are there any other of the Ten Commandments that we're allowed to break? Why is it that Christian worship is focused on the Sunday as the new Sabbath day? In this Bible study, I'll answer this question by going back to the Old Testament calendar of the Jewish feasts and looking particularly at two things: the daily sacrifice in the temple, known as the Tamid, and then the weekly worship, a day of rest, known as the Sabbath. And what I'll show you is that the reason Christians to this day, and from the very beginnings of the early church, from the very beginnings of Christianity in the first century, worshiped on Sunday rather than on Saturday, is because Christ, in his passion, death, and resurrection, didn't just fulfill the prophecies of the Old Testament, he also fulfilled the sacrifices in the Old Testament and even the Sabbath itself. Along the way, you'll learn such things as: what were the Jews doing in the temple? What were they praying for when Jesus was crucified? Why was Jesus crucified at 3 in the afternoon? What's the significance of the timing of the crucifixion? How does Jesus' death and his burial in the tomb on the Sabbath day fulfill the Sabbath and lead to the resurrection on Easter Sunday, the day of Christian worship? In this exciting Bible study, you will discover why it is that the resurrection of Jesus isn't just a vindication of his identity as Son of God and Messiah, but the inauguration of a new covenant and a new creation, beginning a new era in which we as Christians are going to celebrate the new Sabbath, which is Sunday, the Lord's Day. So if you've ever wanted to dive into the mystery of Easter and the mystery of Jesus' death and resurrection, then this Bible study is a perfect study, especially during the Easter season or during Lent, for entering more deeply into the Paschal mystery. As Jesus says, I did not come to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. And he does that in his passion, his death, and his resurrection on Easter Sunday.